The truth hurts. Now that might sound like a harsh way to start off a video, but today I'm going to talk a little bit about the power and secrets of data in terms of driving sponsorship success. And this is built on a panel I just moderated this past weekend in Austin during South by Southwest, where we had Harrison Kim from Austin FC and Adam Grove from Core kind of sharing their thoughts and wisdom. And albeit I was the moderator, I sort of sat back as a non-expert on the topic and took some key takeaways. As data and the tools and technology and platforms become more accessible to brands and properties and teams and agencies, I think we're going to feel and see more of this. The truth hurts. But the truth also will be very beneficial for us. What do I mean by that? We are now at a place where we can go well beyond broadcast and social impressions with our data. One of the best examples that Harrison from Austin FC shared was this whole notion that with their partner with Yeti, who's a big partner, that they're able to actually align the sustainability objectives that Yeti has as a business with their sustainability objectives for the partnership and provide data back to Yeti on literally how much trash they're collecting, how sustainable they're being in their day-to-day business. And I think as we go forward, especially when it comes to key issues like sustainability, where you need, bulletproof, completely solid data and metrics because of the tension out there around ESG, that this is an example where having that information, we couldn't do that 5 years ago. Adam talked about employee engagement, which we all know is a big, big part of sponsorship marketing these days. And, that opportunity to measure sentiment within your organizations, to actually look at how you're utilizing hospitality and track those things, those big expenses that we often haven't been able to look at. Hospitality isn't just used for hosting clients anymore. It's also all about your employees and how they feel about the business and the brand. I also want to bring up the fact that I personally believe that data is going to be the secret weapon for the overlooked properties. And I'm trying not to use words like smaller. I'm trying to not use words like niche. I'm very specifically trying to talk about those smaller properties that exist. I just said it. Try not to use the word smaller, and then I said smaller, but a capital S and a capital R. No, it's properties that are overlooked. Because I think, again, historically, we've been a bit over-reliant in our industry on the top numbers, right? How many viewers? How many attendees? How many impressions? How many samples? And what we now have an opportunity to do is to get down and look at how does the consumer, the purchaser, the client really feel about this property? How does society? How do people fall along this property? Maybe they're not watching the broadcast or attending the festival, but perhaps they're buying merch. Perhaps they're talking about this property or the performers or the athletes or the charity or whatever online. Perhaps they've been inspired and changed their behavior. And I think big properties will spend big dollars and dive even deeper into data and be able to demonstrate to their partners how their property impacts the full ecosystem. But I also really believe that those underestimated, those overlooked properties are also going to say, hey, here's our strength, here's our value, here's how we connect to mom, here's how we influence influencers, here's how your employees feel about us. And people will turn that information into a compelling sales proposition, a compelling value proposition that they'll be able to monetize with brands and partners. And smart brands are going to need to get inside and under the hood of properties, big, small, and in between, and really understand that. Last thing I'll say about data is, we've tended, in many cases, to look at data and information as kind of the output. We're doing the evaluation of what happened. But where data is really seeing a strong increase in usage right now is in the valuation, the upfront, before you make a decision. Sales folks, agencies, and brands alike are now inputting data because we actually have enough to be able to start to say, hey, Here's what appeals to our consumer. Hey, here's what's great about this organization. If we plug this in, we plug that in, we can actually look at, maybe even predict a little bit or project how this property is going to line up for our brand, for our objectives. And also understand, as we get more and more in depth on our consumer, and we can provide that personalized offering and understand her journey, understand what is her affinity to this music event, what is her affinity to this artist, how does she consume this type of music. Is it live? Is it streamed? Is it appointment? Is it watching recorded concerts? Is it sharing with friends? Is it on their own playlist? So perhaps I shouldn't have started off with the truth hurts, but I do think there is going to be some pain for those who don't double down on data. There's going to be some pain for those who ignore data and still think you can sell the good old way and the good old boy approach, or simply trust your gut. And I think it is also going to be true that brands are going to understand what works, what doesn't, what moves the needle. And so all of us in the industry, in the ecosystem, we have to be prepared to deal with the facts that are presented to us, to understand them, and then take action, sometimes corrective action, to move forward. So that's a little 6-minute interpretation, my kind of thoughts from our panel this past weekend. And happy to share more anytime if you want to hit me up.